Try, adapt, learn. In this video, we will be changing spark plugs on a 1941 Ford 9N tractor. If you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to subscribe now for more videos including DIY, maintenance, projects, and yard work. Although we are changing spark plugs on this 9N tractor, this procedure can also be adapted for other Ford N series tractors such as the 2N tractor and the 8N tractor. The engine on these tractors is a Ford 4-cylinder with an L-head. The engine head has similarities to the Ford flathead with the valves running alongside of the block and the spark plugs at the top of the head. The spark plug specified for these engines is the Champion H10. These should be 14mm size spark plugs with a gap of 0.025 to 0.028 inches. Along with the Champion H10 specified plugs, there are also sources that reference alternative spark plugs. These would include the Champion H12, Autolite 437, and Autolite 216. I have chosen to install the optional Autolite 437 spark plug on this Ford 9N tractor. As with all spark plugs, it is important to inspect each one out of the box and check and set the gap for each spark plug before installing. We will use our spark plug gap tool to check and set the gap for these plugs. Since the gap was a little too wide, we will use the back of the tool to narrow the gap. Since the gap is narrow, I had to repeat this process a couple of times in order to get the gap right. I also used a feeler gauge as an additional reference to check the measurement of the gap. Although I recently painted around the engine head, I still wanted to clean around the area to try to prevent debris from going down into the head in the cylinder after removing the spark plug. The old spark plugs removed easily, but they look like they hadn't been changed in a while. The new spark plug also installed easily. I did not have enough room to torque the spark plug down to proper specification. Although the harness, which is the metal tube above the spark plugs, would prevent mistakes in wiring, I still chose to replace each spark plug and wire one after the other. In order to access the spark plug in cylinder number 1 at the front of the engine, the ignition coil would have to be set to the side. Cylinder number 1 wire was the only wire that had dirt and oil in the spark plug boot. It is most likely that this fluid leak occurred on the top of the wire and then dripped down into the boot over time. As with the other plugs, this plug was not torqued down properly to specification due to all of the other hardware in the area. Although I would likely change the coil, I wanted to wipe it clean of some loose dirt. One of the electrical connectors to the ignition coil came loose. I quickly cut and crimped the new connector to continue to reinstall the ignition coil. The ignition coil was then set back into place. As a side note, you'll notice the coil does not need to be uninstalled when the hood and fuel tank are removed. If the hood and fuel tank are removed, the spark plugs can be torqued properly. The specification for these plugs are 24 to 30 pound-feet. I have set this torque wrench to 27 pound-feet. Beginning with cylinder 1, I started the spark plug by hand, then tightened it down with the torque wrench. This process was repeated to torque the spark plugs for all 4 cylinders. The spark plugs that were previously installed were Champion H12. 3 of those spark plugs had a gap around 0.28 inches and 1 had a gap of 0.31 inches. The dark black color looks like carbon from the engine running a little bit rich. But with plugs this old, it could have been built up over time. With only 4 cylinders, the next time I do this, I will likely label each of the old plugs so that way I know which cylinder they came from. We'll review some quick ideas about spark plug diagnostics. Normal spark plugs could be tan colored and clean. White and gray could be okay, but too much white with cracking may indicate a lean mixture or a hot cylinder. Dry black deposits are usually from carbon and can be caused by a rich air and fuel mixture. Oily black and shiny appearance can be caused by oil or fuel fouling. Mechanical damage can be caused by foreign objects or pre-ignition. Please consider that not all spark plugs are consistent. It's important to reference the manufacturer of the spark plug or the manufacturer of the engine for any particular application. As I make new videos, I want to share them with you, so subscribe now. Also comment, like, and check out some of the other content on our channel.